Our last video was on hand carding, and now we're going to show you a drum carder. So this is a drum carder. As you can see, it's got two drums on it, the bigger one and the little one, and then the handle, which then turns both of the drums. There you go, and then the fibre goes in between, and the pins pull the fibre through exactly as it does with a hand carder, but it can take more and it's more efficient. So we are going to pick apart the fibre again, as we did before, just a little bit, pull out any bits that we don't want, and just loosen up the fibre slowly. And then we feed it bit by bit into the drum carder using the shelf. And then as we turn the handle, it will start to pull the fibre through onto the little reel, and then it'll go onto the bigger reel there. So you can see it's doing the same thing, it's pulling the fibres all in the one direction, just you can get more on at a time. And it's using machine power rather than your hand power, although you do still have to turn the handle. So we're just fluffing up a little bit more of the wool, and we're feeding it through little by little. It's always best not to overload it, because one, it gets very hard to manually turn it, and two, it just gets really clumped up. So little by little, we're pulling it through, pulling it out as we need to. And as you can see, it tends to gravitate towards the middle of the drum, but we can spread it out and control a bit better where it lands on the bigger drum. There we go. So you can see it's starting to smooth out beautifully. So we're going to put a third bit through, just to make sure that we're using the whole of the drum. And spreading it out as it starts to get a bit stiff. Just flatten it out. We're being careful not to clamp our hand on the end there, which will stop it pulling through. We're just holding it slightly and guiding it through as and when we're needing to. Just taking that last bit through, and it's starting to straighten it up. Now we want to do this a few times, so to get the fibre off the drum, we're going to use a little tool and then slide gently along the groove on the top of the carder and just pull the fibre up. It tends to take slightly more force than you think it's going to, but you're not damaging the fibre. All you're doing is just pulling it off the drum and separating it slowly. Again, depending on what fibre you're using, depends on how much manual effort you need to do this. And now what we're going to do is gently pull it off the drum bit by bit, and then turn it to get more access to the next bit, and use our little tool just to pull it out of the pins. And you can see already it's starting to be nice and straight and smooth. And we've got a lot more on this drum than we could get on the hand carders. Again, it's a good time to just have a look through your fibre, pick out any bits that were missed on the picking and the washing. And any bits of dust or dirt will also fall through to the bottom of the carder. We're doing it just slowly, just so that we can get it all off nicely and in one long bat. And there we go. And we're off. So we're going to put it through again, but rather than putting it all through in one go, which will take some effort, we're going to divide it up into smaller bits and put each bit through individually and just keep adding to the drum. So we're spreading it out again, keeping it as even as we possibly can, not clamping the hand down, just guiding it and pulling it back through. And each time you do this, it's going to get smoother and straighter and nicer to work with. As with any stage in this process, the more that you do at each stage, the less you have to do at the next stage. So the more that you do at the carding, see there's a little bit there that we don't want. The more that you do at the carding stage, the less you'll have to make an effort to straighten bits when you're spinning, be nice and smooth for felting, anything like that. Generally find the second time you put it through, there's more air in it, so it does get a little bit fluffier. And you may find that the bits that the carder doesn't want to take, there might be slightly shorter bits, and that's okay. You just take them off and either fluff them up and put them through in the next batch, or discard them if they're no use to you. So the fibre that's now on the drum is even nicer and smoother, and it's pulling through beautifully. Excuse the dog in the background. He's very curious, especially when it smells yummy like sheep's fleece. There we go. And then we're just going to put through one more time, just to get it as smooth as we can. There we go. And then just little bit by little bit. And you can see this time through even it's smoother than it was the last time. Each time you put it through, it's going to get straighter and straighter and smoother and smoother. Okay, so we're going to put it through just one more time. So again, we're going to separate it out. Hello, dog. You're helping. And through we go again. Sorry, fleece is flying away. There we go. Each time through, just gets nicer and nicer. Spreading it out as evenly as we can. And even at this stage, we're still finding little bits that we don't want in there, so just makes it easier to work with afterwards. So that's the first bit, and then the second bit, just spreading out evenly across the shelf and start to pull it through. The more experience you get, the more you'll know at what point to stop and spread it out. You get more of a feel for the fibre as you're working with it. But generally, little by little, don't overload it, or it really does get hard work. There we go, lovely. And depending on the fibre, you can put it through again if you feel that it's not quite as smooth. But we're just going to show you how to take it off for the final time now. So again, just going down the groove, pulling it up and away, and just splitting it at the top there. And depending on the fibre and how much you've got on there, depends on how easily this will come off or not. But use as much force as you need to, as long as you're not actually digging into the carder. Now, there's a couple of ways of doing it. You can diz it, which is essentially you get something with a little hole in it and you pull it through bit by bit. But we like to use ours in bats, which is what we're making now, which is just one long, smooth clump. And that's looking lovely. I'm just putting it off again, little bit by little bit. You've got to be patient in this game. And there we have it. Beautiful, smooth bat of sheep's wool. Gorgeous.